I've got the million-dollar question. Jorge Bennett, are we good? That's great. Hello and welcome to the Eastside Engagement. My name is Trace Savage. I'm the editor-in-chief of NonDoc.com. Welcome to a debate between the two candidates remaining in the race for Ward 7 on the Oklahoma City City Council. I'm here tonight to moderate this debate with Matt McCabe of News 9.
And we're here at the wonderful District Center Auditorium on the campus of Metro Tech with Camal Pennington and John Pettis Jr., two lifelong residents of this community who finished atop a four-way primary election in February. Thank you both for believing in the value of fair public discussions on important topics.
Thank you so much. Give them a round of applause. Not everybody's always willing to do these conversations. Really important. Glad that they are. I want to thank the folks at Metro Tech. Zach, thank you so much in the booth. Chandler, thank you for the journalism program. We've got a couple Metro Tech journalism students here taking some photos tonight. And so they have a great program. Learn more about it if you're unfamiliar. I'd also like to thank the financial sponsors of NonDoc's 2025 political debate series, AARP Oklahoma, the Scholar Strategy Network, and the local district council of the Urban Land Institute. Thank you so much for believing in fair public debates.
And since we are streaming tonight on News9.com and Facebook, now is a great time to share the live stream with your friends. If you are here with us at Metro Tech, please do that now and then silence your cell phones.
And I want to say this to the audience as well. Thank you so much for being here, but we want everybody in this city to be able to hear the issues that are discussed tonight. I've known both of these two candidates for many years, and I'm really excited for the conversation that we're going to have tonight about issues key to Ward 7 and Oklahoma City as a whole. So let's hold our applause till the end of each round. I don't think we're going to have to kick everybody out of the room or anything like that to retain order. I think we can have a reasonable professional discussion. So without further ado, here's tonight's format. We'll have 2-minute opening statements for both candidates. Then we'll have 3 rounds of questions where each candidate will get to answer each question, and then we'll conclude with 2-minute closing statements. We flipped a coin earlier to determine the candidate order for the opening statements. Mr. John Pettis, you are going to go first, followed by Mr. Camal Pennington. Mr. Pettis, the stage is yours. 2 minutes for your opening statement.
Thank you, and thank you, NonDoc, and thank you, Channel 9, and thank you, Metro Tech, for hosting this event, and also thank you to my friend, Camal. It was in 1969 when the song was written. This song says, "Let the work that I've done speak for me." And I'd like to change the words of the song to, "Let the work that we've done together, let it speak for us." You see, when our city demanded police body cameras, it was this city councilman who pushed and pushed, who brought the FOP, civil rights leaders, faith-based leaders, and activists together to work on the issues of police body cameras. And we were able to get police body cameras. When our community demanded that crime go down in our community, it was this councilman who led the charge, who worked with the residents of Ward 7 to bring down crime by 20%. You see, when the community demanded a new recreational center for Northeast Oklahoma City, it was this councilman who pushed the community, who pushed the city to support the 2017 general obligation bond. And we were successful in getting the Willa D. Johnson into the general obligation bond, the 2017 general obligation bond. And there were also this councilman who was one of many council people who pushed for the Northeast Senior Wellness Center. Again, let the work that we've done together, let it speak for itself. And again, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pettis. Mr. Pennington, 2-minute opening statement to you.
Excellent. Thank you, and good evening. My name is Camal Pennington, and I want to thank NonDoc and Channel 9 and our moderators for this opportunity to be here. And I want to start by thanking my family, my wife, Tori, the president of the Oklahoma City American Federation of Teachers, our daughters, Olivia and Ella, little Ella running around in the aisles, my parents, Carl and Cheryl Pennington. You all wave. Thank you all for being here. I'm very proud to be a 4th-generation resident of Ward 7. And grateful for the education that I received from right here in this community. I'm a proud Northeast Viking, and that great education took me on to Oklahoma City University, where I received a full-ride Claire Looper scholarship. I took that education and went to the University of Oklahoma College of Law. And after graduating from law school, I knew that I wanted to dedicate my career to public service because I believe that I've had great opportunities because of the great work of people, leaders in this community, and every kid deserves that same chance. Today, I'm a nonprofit executive director of It's My Community initiative, and our mission is to strengthen this community by building strong, healthy families. Some of our programs include True Dads, which works every day to make dads stronger and more involved in their families in this community, connecting them to workforce opportunities and helping them to communicate better with their children. We also run an after-school program that serves Douglas, Star Spencer, and John Marshall High Schools that's focused on strengthening relationships between parents and their children, that's helping them connect with workforce opportunities, leadership skills, financial literacy, everything to make this community stronger. The theme of our campaign is building together because we believe that when we unite and we focus on strengthening this community for the future, we can be better. So I'm looking forward to this conversation and appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you both, gentlemen, for being here tonight. With that, let's get to our first round of questions, which is titled The State of the City. Each candidate's going to have 90 seconds to answer each question, and we'll rotate who answers first, starting alphabetically. Matt, first question's yours.
That's right, and the first question is two parts. First, we want to know what is the biggest issue facing Ward 7, and secondly, what is the biggest issue facing the city of Oklahoma City as a whole? Mr. Pennington, you have 90 seconds to answer first.
Well, thank you so much. The biggest issue facing Ward 7 is creating great, safe neighborhoods everywhere. I am a firm believer that no matter how much money you make, no matter what you look like, in any part of this city, you should feel safe in your neighborhood. That when I take my own daughters across the street to the park, that we should know that we're going to return home safely. That my nephews who are teenagers should be able to walk around their own neighborhood in a hoodie right here at their neighborhood of mine. So we should be assured that they return home safely. Every part of our ward deserves to feel invested in and safe. And so when we focus on neighborhoods and building up our streets and our sidewalks, when we focus on creating job opportunities so that people can live, work, and play, those are the issues that are most important to Ward 7, is making it the best place to live in all of Oklahoma City. I think that Oklahoma City, is one of the greatest challenges facing us, is we've had a lot of great successes, but my goal and focus, as if elected to the council, is going to be ensuring that all the investment and progress that's being made downtown is actually experienced by everybody in our community. We want to see the jobs and investment and amenities be right here in Ward 7. Every time I knock on doors, every neighbor brings up their streets and the need for grocery stores and retail, and that's the fight that I want to focus on if elected.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Pettis, 90 seconds to you for the same question. What is the biggest issue facing Ward 7, and then the biggest issue for the city of Oklahoma City overall? You have 90 seconds.
All right, thank you. You know, the city talks a lot about being a big league city. The city talks about the unemployment rate as a whole. But when you look at the unemployment rate in Northeast Oklahoma City, is higher than any other part of our city. People who live in Ward 7, they deserve the same opportunities that other parts of our city have. And so just like other parts of our city, we need true economic development without our community being moved out. And yes, we need that infrastructure. Yes, we need the better streets, the better sidewalks. Yes, we deserve those things. And we also deserve a safer neighborhood. And you see, we have a record of bringing down crime in Ward 7. You know, as a city, we're getting ready to face a major budget crisis. The city of Oklahoma City is getting ready to do a 2% budget cut. And I do have a record of standing strong for the people of Ward 7 to make sure that we don't have a negative impact on our community when they begin to cut the budget by 2%.
Thank you very much. For those listening at home, the audio was cracking just a minute there. I think we've got a team of experts on it. Literally, we have a team of experts on it. I think we've gotten it straightened out. Thank you both for that question and answer. Mr. Pettis, this next question will go to you again, 90 seconds. As you have mentioned, You have represented Ward 7 before in this role. So in your opinion, when you look at the current OKC City Council, what is the biggest problem, either in terms of its priorities, a perspective that might be missing, or just how the body operates? 90 seconds. What would you say is the biggest problem with the current council?
You see, when I was the city councilman, there was only one black person on the city council. So all the trials and tribulations that African Americans faced fell on that one city council person, that one black city councilman. Now we have another black city councilman who is serving. And I think the city over time will have more diversity on the city council. You know, the city council now, I would have to say, is more for the people versus years prior to. And I would truly believe that as a city, we still have work to do for its equality. You know, that's something that we all must strive to improve, how equality is in our city. But we also must realize that people of Ward 7 deserve, again, the same opportunities as other parts of our city have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pennington. Same question to you. What do you think is the biggest issue facing the city council right now?
Well, I think the biggest issue is having the opportunity for us to come together and realize that the commonalities that we have in each of our wards. The quality of neighborhoods is so critical to the quality of life in this community. And so many times, I've served on the Oklahoma City Planning Commission for the last 6 years representing Ward 7. And time again, when I visit with my neighbors, they mention, where's the focus on lifting up our neighborhoods? There are so many dilapidated houses. There are so many vacant lots. Again, we're looking for the infrastructure to be able to continue to improve on our grocery stores and retail options in our communities. And I know that that's not just Ward 7 that's experiencing that. So my goal is to focus on collaborating with the people on the other members of the city council so that we can really invest in making sure that every part of our ward is safe, healthy, and thriving.
Thank you very much. You mentioned neighborhoods, and it's like you read Matt's mind. He's got the next question starting for you, Mr. Pennington.
That's right. On the subject of neighborhoods, the Ross Heights neighborhood just south of 23rd Street recently joined Oklahoma City's newest Strong Neighborhoods Initiative cohort. What's your opinion of the program's current work in the MLK neighborhood, and what are the biggest needs that you see in the Ross Heights neighborhood? You have 90 seconds to answer.
Thank you. I think the Strong Neighborhoods Initiative has done an outstanding job of bringing the community together and helping us to focus on clear goals to improve that community. And it's not just about other outside people dictating to that neighborhood what they need. No, the Strong Neighborhoods Initiative brings neighbors together, and they work collaboratively to decide on what their priorities are and how those investments will be made. So I think MLK has made great progress, but there is still much work to do. They've been able to beautify their community. They've been able to help get some rehab for some homes. They've been able to help just build it up so that it's improve their playgrounds. All of that is so important. I hope that in Ross Heights we're able to, again, focus on helping people in our community stay in our community. We need the resources to ensure that our elderly and seniors have the opportunity to build up their homes that have fallen into disrepair, that we are creating housing that's accessible and affordable for the people who are from here to have the opportunity to stay here. And then we need a focus and attention on ensuring that people feel safe and welcome in their own neighborhood so that each generation can continue to remain here and thrive.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Pettis. You have 90 seconds to answer the same question, your current opinion about the S&I program work in the MLK neighborhood and what you'd like to see for the Ross Heights neighborhood. You have 90 seconds.
All right, thank you. Overall, the SNI area has done wonders for our community. And I truly believe that in those two neighborhoods, wonderful things will continue to happen. But here's the whole thing about the SNI area and the SNI program as a whole. The SNI funding is from the federal government. So the question tonight should be, what will the city of Oklahoma City do when those funds are cut out of the community block funds? Again, those are federal dollars that the city has did a set aside upon. And so to make sure that our community is not left out in the process, I do believe that the city of Oklahoma City must partner with other governmental agencies to make sure that both neighborhoods have the same opportunities as other neighborhoods in our city. But again, the city of Oklahoma City is getting ready to deal with budget cuts on the federal level. So what can the city of Oklahoma do to work with other government agencies to make sure that those two neighborhoods have the success?
Thank you very much. We're going to talk about something else that's coming down the pike. Many people are excited that in 2028, Oklahoma City will host a pair of Olympic events, the canoe slalom and women's softball events for the Olympics. While the Olympic experience will draw thousands of visitors here and showcase Oklahoma City on the global stage, there is some fear that existing infrastructure challenges and the potential for maybe rushed or temporary solutions could ultimately pose some problems. So with both of those Olympic events occurring within Ward 7's boundaries, what do you believe is the best possible outcome for Ward 7, and what is your biggest concern? Mr. Pettis, I stumbled through that. If you need me to repeat it, let me know. 90 seconds to you.
Again, we must talk about the city of Oklahoma City working with other governments. I truly believe that the city of Oklahoma City must work with the county to get the needed work done in Northeast Oklahoma City for the Olympics. Let me give an example, if I may be able to. When the county do the work and the city pays for the materials, more work can be done. And I strongly believe to make the Olympics happen the way it needs to, there needs to be a joint projects of both entities working together. But we also must make sure that people who look like Camal and I, and people who look like the audience here, have the opportunity to build on some of those jobs so we too can feed our families, so the community again can have those same opportunities.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pennington. 90 seconds to you. Same question as the Olympics approaches. What do you believe is the best possible outcome for Ward 7, and what concerns might you have?
Well, the best possible outcome for us is that our artists, our entrepreneurs get the chance to showcase themselves to the world. My focus, if elected, is going to be on getting a committee of our neighbors and our citizens right here in Ward 7 that are going to be directly affected. And let's talk about what we want to see when the Olympics comes. I think it starts with making sure that the investments are for beautification so that we can enhance our parks, our sidewalks, our streets, so that we can showcase our city and take pride. And the beauty of that is that those streets are going to be there when the Olympics leaves. It benefits our community in the long run. We should make the same investments in our restaurants and that infrastructure so that we can ensure that there are great places to eat and stay here in Northeast Oklahoma City when the Olympics comes, and that it'll still be here when they leave. When I think about my own daughters, I never imagined growing up in this city and thinking that an Olympic event would be here. And so what an outstanding opportunity for every kid that's going to school in our ward to have the opportunity to go to the Olympics or to volunteer for the Olympics and to be a part of this exciting opportunity to unite our community. I think this is also a chance for us to unite the rest of Oklahoma City and make them aware of the great place that we live in Ward 7. So my goal is to make sure that the Olympics benefits us in the long run by investing in infrastructure, by empowering our artists and our entrepreneurs to really showcase and make us proud in this city.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. We are moving on towards the end of round one, but before we do, we have a hand-raised question, and that means that we're looking for a yes or no answer.
I've got that question. Gentlemen, for years, you're well aware the JFK neighborhood has been extremely frustrated with a recycling company that sometimes creates some extremely loud explosions. They rattle households, they disrupt an otherwise peaceful area. And I believe it's on March 25th, later this month, is where it got moved to. There's a similar company whose operations pose similar concerns, and they have an application pending before the city council to expand in the area. Raise your hand if you believe the council should reject this application. Okay, 30 seconds to each of you. Whoever can go first. Why do you say that? And then is there anything beyond that that could be done about the existing problem that has lingered for a decade or more?
Sure. I think I'm adamantly opposed to this. And it is, the unfortunate thing about this is this facility's existed for a while and has been causing so much harm to the neighborhood. These are hardworking people that have they've bought their homes, they're raising their families there. And we want to make great places to live everywhere in Oklahoma City, and this application threatens that. I think it's important that we be focused on a long-term solution, because even if the council votes this down, their operation is legally non-conforming. So my focus, if elected, will be on how we can get them to move to another site. We want to get them out of this community. We want to ensure that none of these uses are allowed to ever come back so that JFK can continue to thrive. And I'm very grateful for Councilman Lee Cooper for the leadership of Denavetta Davis in that neighborhood and organizing the neighborhood. We do have a petition that's out there, so please sign it if you're willing to join with us in opposition. And please attend the council meeting on March 25th at 8:30 a.m. so that we can be united in opposing this and really supporting the JFK neighborhood.
Thank you, Mr. Pettis. I want to give you 45 seconds. Same question to you. Explain your thoughts on the matter.
So number one, when the applicant turned in his application on November the 20th, there should have been a community meeting to talk about that application day one. Not as it's going to the city council, but it should have been dealt with day one when the application was turned in November the 20th. But unfortunately, there was no community discussions. So let's start there. You know, I have a strong record of standing up for the JFK area. It was back in 2013 when the neighbors of the JFK came together, met in my office, and we together submitted an ordinance to limit the hours of operation. And that was done again in 2013. There is still work to be done. I do agree that the steel yards, recycling plants along Reno need to be relocated. Before I left office, one of the things that the city was working on was to make those recycling plants a public nuisance, because it is a public nuisance. But I do stand with the JFK area. Again, I've been standing with JFK ever since 2013, and that support has not changed.
And just to be clear, I want to give you both 15 seconds on this. You said, Mr. Pennington, that Derricksburg is in legal noncompliance. Is that the company you're talking about? So can the city take action to, what, pull their permit for that? I mean, what do you envision if the two of you, one of you is elected? What is the first action that you would take to achieve that goal of moving them out of there?
The first action is to find a site that they can move to that's not near any neighborhoods. And so we need to find an appropriate site throughout the city and work with them to relocate. That's important.
Mr. Pettis?
Number one, we need to hold them accountable for what the ordinance that was introduced in 2013. We need to hold them accountable to that, number one. And then we have to, again, find a suitable site for them, again, away from the neighborhoods.
Thank you very much. That's the end of round one. Give them a round of applause. And I'm going to have you gentlemen both do one thing for our audio folks. Take your mic and just move it a little bit. It's picking you up real well. We've got those plosives. That's a good word for all our young friends out there watching. Plosives, that's when you go p, p. So we're picking those up a lot. Okay, we're going to go to round two. It's titled SimCity 2025. Did you guys ever play that computer game growing up? Am I just a nerd? Okay. We're going to dive a little. You didn't? Okay, well, we got to get you.
I was too busy playing the tuba at Millwood, too busy playing the bass guitar at Millwood, so no.
That's good. I've seen you sing. You're pretty good at that. Okay, so anyway, we're going to talk a little more deeply about topics related to housing and community development in this round. And we're going to start with a toss-up question from Matt.
That's right. At some time this year, the Oklahoma City Council is expected to consider asking voters to approve a large package of projects to be funded by general obligation bonds, which would extend the property tax on Oklahoma City landowners. The final package of projects has not yet been announced. So what would be your message to the review committee and to the city council when this package is being finalized? 60 seconds to both of you. Anyone can go first.
Well, again, my focus will be on ensuring that our neighborhoods get the investment that they deserve in our streets, in our sidewalks, because that's what makes communities more livable. I think this is also a great opportunity for us to invest in keeping people in their homes, creating a fund that can help us support affordable housing so that people that are renters in our community can become proud homeowners, so that we can ensure that the seniors that are in our community can get the money and resources that they need to repair their homes, that we can start seeing some of these infill lots create opportunities again for our family members to be able to move right in, bring single-family homes and help us to expand housing opportunities all throughout this community. So my focus is going to be on ensuring Ward 7 gets its fair share, gets what we deserve in order to build up and support our neighborhoods and our streets.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Pettis, we'll go to you. Same question about your message for the review committee and to city council when the package is finalized.
So my message is the same message that it was in 2017, to make sure that the people of Ward 7 gets its fair share. We have thousands on top of thousands of seniors who are still on the waiting list to have their house repaired. We have thousands of seniors who need paint jobs on their house. We have thousands of seniors in Ward 7 who need a new roof. So I strongly believe that the people of Ward 7 deserve everything that all the other parts of our city have. You know, when we talk about the 2025 bond, we also must talk about infrastructure. The city of Oklahoma City did more infrastructure projects in 2017 than ever before in our city. And I do believe the review committee needs to hear from the Ward 7 residents, those who turned in the surveys and those who attended the different meetings, because we had a good showing when it came to those meetings.
Thank you very much to you both.
Thank you very much. Great. We're going to talk about housing in these next 4 questions, and we're going to give you each 2 minutes for each answer to these next 4 questions. Matt, I'm going to go back to you, I guess.
That's right.
I got to follow the script.
As our state and our country continues to see increases in homelessness for a variety of reasons, what do you believe that Oklahoma City is doing well to address homelessness, and what would you prefer that the city does differently to improve? I'm going to go ahead and start with Mr. Pennington. You have 2 minutes.
Excellent. Homelessness is such an important issue for us to address in this community because all people in our community deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. And for the American dream to be possible, we need to enable people to be able to live in this economy and buy their own home and live comfortably. So I think what Oklahoma City is getting right is we're focused on collaborating together. There are so many, and I know this as a nonprofit leader, it's really important that we work together cooperatively rather than competing against each other. And the city's Key to Home initiative is really helping to rehouse a lot of people. It's helping us to stop some of the areas that encampments and really help rehab some of those people and help them to get the resources they need. My focus on homelessness is make housing more affordable for people. And then let's support initiatives that keep people from getting kicked out of their homes in the first place. So I also think we need to help people have the opportunities to rehab their homes. Let's talk about the redlining that happens in Ward 7 that prevents many people from getting the loans that they need to obtain the homes that they would like to have in our community. All of that is part of the solution. We also in Oklahoma City still have a mental health crisis. If we would help so many people in our community get access to the mental health resources that they need, they probably wouldn't, some of them can stop being homeless because they're getting the treatment that they need. So my focus is on treating everybody with respect and dignity, on on policies that push for more housing and keeping people in the housing where they are.
Thank you very much. Mr. Pettis, we'll go to you. Same question. The homelessness policies, what do you believe that we're doing well, and what can we do to improve? You have 2 minutes.
The Key to Homes has been a great program for our city. Hundreds of homeless families now have a place to stay. But what I don't agree with the program is where the city has depended upon so much from the Oklahoma City Housing Authority. Councilwoman Nikki Nice at the time, and now Senator Nice, pushed back on the Oklahoma City Housing Authority being the main entity to house homeless because the Housing Authority can't even take care of the properties that they have now. They want to lead that charge of housing homeless. I don't agree with the Housing Authority being the main lead for us providing housing for homeless, because they can't get the public housing straight, they can't get the Section 8 straight. So no, I don't agree with the city there. But one of the things I do agree is the partnerships that has came about through the Key to Homes. They bringing in medical providers such as Community Health Centers of Oklahoma, who operates the Healing Hands Center, Family Medical Center in downtown. That is the city's only free health care to homeless. They provide medical care as well as mental health and substance abuse counseling there as well.
Wonderful. Matt, I'm going to audible here. I'm going to go to question 3 in this round because it's going to pick up right where he brought that up. So, Mr. Pettis, you mentioned the Oklahoma City Housing Authority. I'm going to ask that. Matt, I'll come back to you for 2 to go to Camal in just a minute. When we think of the lowest income renters in our community, the Oklahoma City Housing Authority's project sites, they have project sites and they have scattered voucher-based sites, right? And those provide a social safety net that, according to recent inspections, is struggling to keep up with code, up to par, and up to the standard that I think most people would set for their own properties. For instance, the authority's scattered sites this year received a score of 7 out of 100. So I'm curious, you brought this up, and I wonder what we can do to improve the Oklahoma City Housing Authority. What do you hear from residents when it comes to how OKCHA is performing, and what plans or proposals should be considered to ensure that quality housing can exist for those in public housing programs? 2 minutes to you, Mr. Pettis.
Several years ago, I lost a classmate at Sooner Haven. His death could have been prevented had the Oklahoma City Housing Authority done right. So when you think about the Oklahoma City Housing Authority, for me, it hits home. Nobody deserves to be killed in public housing, whether it's in a scattered site or whether it's in a place like Sooner Haven. I believe that the residents of our city must hold the board accountable, must hold the staff accountable. The board is appointed by the mayor and city council, and the board hires the executive director. But we must hold them accountable for what they are doing. They are doing a disservice to our community. And Senator Nice, she was right to be outraged. She was right to go to their meetings every single time they had meetings. Because what's happening with the Oklahoma City Housing Authority is simply not right.
Thank you very much. Mr. Pennington, the same question to you, 2 minutes.
Well, thank you. I certainly agree that we need to hold the Housing Authority accountable to a high standard. We want them to build a high-quality product. But I think it's really important for us to lift up this point. Northeast Oklahoma City is not just a place for low-income or public housing. It's a great place to live for all incomes. So my focus on working with the Housing Authority is how do you build a quality product that I'd want to live next to it or you'd want to live next to it, because every person deserves a home where they feel dignified. And so we have to focus on turning our renters into homeowners. We have to focus on building a high-quality product that has access to parks and amenities so that it's a great place to live for all of us. Public housing done well is an opportunity for people to live up and advance their lives, and we ought to ensure that it lives up to its mission.
Now,
Yes,
if I can, accountability is important because you want to know how many people they actually teach about the opportunities to be a homeowner. very, very little, and they receive federal dollars to teach people how to be homeowners. But they're not interested in that. They are only interested in housing the poor.
I want to follow up on this real quick. I'm going to give you another 30 seconds, and Mr. Pennington, I want to give you a chance to respond. I'm curious, Mr. Pettis, accountability on that board, and I hear we need to have a better quality. If 7 out of 100, if I got that on a math test, we'd hope not to advance me to the next grade, right? So how do we do that? It's easy to say we could get hundreds of millions of dollars in federal grants, we should do something at the city level, we should put it in the GO bond proposal. What do we do if you think the board is not accountable currently? Like, what is the pathway to achieving the goals that we're talking about here? And I don't care who starts, give you 30 seconds each.
Sure, I think it starts with collaborating together with agents, with public officials all across the government. So I have been fortunate enough, having served on the Planning Commission, having been a former congressional staffer myself, have relationships with our congressional delegation. I think we've got to work with our state leaders. We have great legislators. We should work with Senator Nice and others to ensure that we're creating the laws that create a high standard that the Housing Authority is required to follow. It starts with that, and collaborating together to set that high standard. I think it also means we need to identify places where we want to see them build housing that can mix the incomes, that we can create a place where people of all incomes would want to live. And I think the more that we do that, that we see people of a different income than us as a part of our community rather than somebody, an other to push out, we're going to create a better place for everyone to live.
Mr. Pettis, 30 seconds to you.
The accountability is already there. The accountability for as the rules and the regulations they must follow by HUD is already there. The issue of it is they are not following, they have not been following it for years. And I believe that the city council must hold the board members accountable for what's going on. Again, 7 out of 100. The federal government is doing their job. They're doing what they are responsible for doing. But it's us being Oklahoma City, we are not.
Thank you very much. Matt, let's go back to that second question of this round, also about housing, gentlemen.
Yes, and we appreciate your engagement and your enthusiasm on that topic. One absolute requirement for addressing and preventing homelessness is for a city to have an adequate supply of housing options. So I'm going to ask you a question that is on the mind of local community developers in Ward 7. How can city leaders increase the housing capacity and density of Northeast Oklahoma City in a way that remains affordable and that avoids displacement and ensures equity for the pre-existing residents? You have 2 minutes to respond, and we'll start with Mr. Pennington.
Excellent. I think it starts by, first, empowering people within this community to become home builders. And I'm proud as a member of the Northeast Oklahoma City Renaissance Board that we have the Placekeepers program that every day is taking people right from our community, teaching them how to become developers themselves so we can start to build the community that we want to see. I think we also need pro-housing policy. As planning commissioner, I've been working on an ordinance so that we can build accessory dwelling units without having to go through all of the red tape and approvals from City Hall, so that people can turn their garage apartments and their accessory dwellings into homes so that people can use them. It's so important that we have housing policy, and it's so important that we use the bond projects as an opportunity to invest in creating more housing and incentivizing more housing. So I really want to work with our community on how we want to see infill development happen. I think our community needs to be a part of that conversation so that we're the leaders of the kind of quality housing that we want to see.
Thank you very much. Mr. Pettis, same question to you, sir. You have 2 minutes to respond.
I strongly believe that we have a redlining problem in Ward 7. Blacks are still being denied mortgages at a higher rate than any other part in our city. We have to fix the redlining in our city. We have to fix, again, the reason why blacks are being denied mortgages than any other part of our city. We also must fix the discrimination that takes place when you think about renting a home, when you think about renting a house. There are a lot of discrimination that take places because of the color of your skin. Yes, they're not supposed to do it, but it happens so often in our community. Now, I strongly believe that, yes, we must teach people how to be homeowners. I strongly believe that. And I strongly believe that the city must partner with other housing agencies other than the Oklahoma City Planning Department, agencies such as the Oklahoma County Housing Finance Agency, who offers so many incentives for first-time home buyers, not just first-time home buyers, but those who are interested in buying a house. So we have work to do as a whole for our city. And then when we talk about housing, when we talk about infield housing and so forth like that, we got to make sure that we work with the neighbors. Those individuals who got to wake up 5 o'clock in the morning and see that development right next to them, we got to make sure they are at the table, not after the fact, but when it's at the beginning stages.
Thank you very much. We're going to switch out a cable in our audio system real quick. So I'm bottle of water sponsored by Sprouts, I guess. I don't know. So give us just a second as we switch this out. I didn't even get to drink. I've already got the thumbs up. Okay. Okay, gentlemen, we're having a good conversation. Let's start. Let's keep it going. Mr. Pettis, this will come to you. 2 minutes again. I'm going to ask this to you first, then Mr. Pennington. As significant resources continue to be invested in the Innovation District and the OU Health Sciences Center, what do you believe OKC business leaders and developers need to understand about the historic use of eminent domain on the east side, and what can be done to avoid similar outcomes in the future? 2 minutes to you, Mr. Pettis.
All right, thank you. As in regards to the Innovation District, I am proud to say that the city of Oklahoma City, through the TIF program, put a set aside of $18 million for the simple fact to educate our people about the opportunities in the Adventure District, to educate and also provide workforce opportunities. People who have opportunities in Northeast Oklahoma City, people who have businesses in Northeast Oklahoma City and also the Adventure District need to understand that, hey, those jobs, people who look like you and I want some of those jobs. I mean, we want those jobs. Those businesses must invest in making sure that they reach out to also to educate people about the opportunities in the Adventure District. Now, for as eminent domain, there's still that policy that urban renewal cannot eminent domain a piece of property. That policy is still in effect. And if I am elected again, I'm going to make sure that policy stays. Eminent domain is not a place for the Adventure District at all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pennington. Same question, 2 minutes to you. What do people need to understand about the history and how not to repeat it?
Well, it's important that everyone understand, our audience out there, that if you are a fourth-generation Ward 7 resident like me, every family has a story of how they were moved by eminent domain, by urban renewal to another part of Ward 7 in order for them to continue to live. I know that story because every day I walk out on my front porch and I look at my great-grandma's house that she was able to move into when they moved her away from 3rd and Kate, where she lived. So I think it's so important that people understand that history, but we have to be focused on the future. We have to be focused on how we take this opportunity to build up our community and to lead. So my goal is to work with Okura and on all of those lots so that our residents lead with how we want to see it be built. Let's create the kind of quality housing that we once enjoyed in that Deep Deuce in those parts of Northeast Oklahoma City. Let's make it so that we're proud again of the place where we live, so that the best repayment is so that we can ensure that the next generation gets to live in a high-quality place. I think as far as the Innovation District and those other investments, they can't thrive unless they have a great workforce. Start with the people right here in our community. Come to our schools and ensure that our children are getting the right kind of education so that they can take advantage of those well-paying jobs. I'd want those business leaders to understand that let's take this opportunity to invest in public transit and in sidewalks so that people can easily access those job opportunities. So it's important that if we're going to build up a community, we have to build it up by coming together. We have to build it up by ensuring that we are creating the workforce and the investments that make the American dream possible for all of us.
Thank you very much. We can talk about these issues all night. Did you have something to add, Mr. Pettis?
Yes, eminent domain is not a place for our community, and I stand by that. You know, I was baptized off of 13th and Lincoln. That's where the old Ebenezer was. And because the city basically forced Ebenezer's hand, they ended up on 36 in Kelly. Eminent domain has no place in our city.
Mr. Pennington, you want another 15 seconds?
What I'll add is this. The OU Health Sciences Center is a marvel, and yet it is surrounded by the highest rates of chronic disease, one of the most unhealthy communities. We have lower life expectancy right there within walking distance of the OU Health Sciences Center, and I think it's unacceptable. And so my goal is to work with OU on how we can ensure that everyone gets better access to quality, affordable health care. We need that in order. You want a healthy workforce and build up this city? Then ensure that your workforce is healthy and well-educated, and that's what I intend to work on as your councilman.
Thank you very much. As we get ready to conclude round two, Matt has a hand-raised question for both of you gentlemen. Again, we're looking for a yes or no.
That's right, another one of these. So there is another question that's going to go to voters in Oklahoma City sometime soon, also voters in Norman and Edmond, and that is the Regional Transit Authority project. It will ask voters to approve some sort of sales tax, possibly less than 1%, for a commuter rail line connecting the cities, as well as a light rail line to Will Rogers Airport. All three of those cities would have to approve the project for it to go forward. And while the transit investment would draw significant federal funding and improve travel within the Oklahoma City Metro and to the airport, a new sales tax could carry controversy. So please raise your hand if you support this RTA commuter rail and airport transit project.
That's a yes. We got one yes and one no.
It
Go
looks
ahead.
like, Mr. Pettis, you want to start?
So here's the
We're
thing.
going to give you 30 seconds to start.
So I do support commuter rail, but I'm not going to say I support it through a sales tax, and because this is the reason why. We have not seen the package. I want to make sure that Ward 7 is included and not left out, period.
Up to 30 seconds if you want it. Okay. And Mr. Pennington, we'll go to you now to explain your position on it.
Every day we have to, it's important that our leaders be focused on building a great future for our kids and our grandkids and the next generation. So I think the RTA is a unique opportunity to invest. So my focus is going to be on ensuring that our entrepreneurs get the opportunity to, one, get the contracts that it's going to take to build this railway and the stations that it's going to create. I want to ensure that our artists and our entrepreneurs get the opportunity to build their businesses around what will be created as a result of this investment in the RTA. I think it's an exciting opportunity. When you go, every time you go to imagine whatever big city you travel to when you go on vacation. I'm certain that when you get to enjoy that rail to the airport, you think it's a lot more convenient. We deserve those opportunities for that kind of convenience, but I will agree that we want to look for every funding opportunity that lowers the tax burden on our residents. So I think we need to explore that all the way.
And we need to make sure that Ward 7 has some stops along the way.
Thank you very much. We're getting to the end of round two. Let's give them a round of applause. And we've got home. We've just had a static issue. We don't know if we got to shorten a cable, so we're switching that out right now. So now would be a good time to start making dinner plans here in Ward 7, spending some money and raising the sales tax so that maybe we can get that 2% cut down to 1.8. How about that? I'm going to wait until I get the thumbs up from the crew in the back. They are frantically on the phone. And really want to thank everybody again for being here. We're running a little ahead of time, so we're not going to keep you too late. I promise about that. So.
We are going to make sure everybody online is having the same awesome experience people here in person have.
No, I'm sorry. starting to get texts from elected officials, so, you know, it's a problem when you don't have that right. Okay, I see another expert added to the team, so we're growing. This is what we want to do. Healthy growth in the city.
And he's a project of Northeast Oklahoma City, by the way.
There you go. Well, that's what we needed the whole moment, so. I really appreciate everyone's patience. Right on cue. There we go. She's doing great. She's rooting for her daddy, right? Okay, I've got the thumbs up, so it sounds like we're ready to begin round three. Let's give them a round of applause. Give yourselves a round of applause for patience. That was excellent. This round is titled Law, Order, and a Tall Tale, and that's, we're going to talk about that in just a minute. For the first two questions of this round, you will each have 90 seconds to answer. They're about public safety. And then for the final two questions of this round is kind of where we ask the political questions. We'll have you both answer for 90 seconds with the person receiving the initial question getting a final 30 seconds to conclude that discussion. I hope that makes sense. So we'll go 90 to you, 90 to your opponent, and then 30 back to you. Do I have the thumbs up from the crowd, from the audio team back there? And now everybody's looking at you all, so now you really have a lot of pressure on you. Let's wait till we get a thumbs up. Matt, you've got the first question. It's going to go to Mr. Pettis. He'll have 90 seconds, then Mr. Pennington.
That's right. We'll go ahead and prime our candidates with the question here. The topics of community policing and law enforcement accountability have rightfully remained front of mind in Oklahoma City, and while a series of reforms have been undertaken within Oklahoma City Police in recent years, the Department of Justice recently released a report highly critical of how mental health calls are handled in this community. With that in mind, what do you believe new Police Chief Ron Basie is doing well for Northeast Oklahoma City, and what would you like to see him and Oklahoma City Police do better in this community? Mr. Pettis, you are going to start off for us. And actually, we're going to have both of our candidates move their mics a little bit closer to your mouth. We are now having the flip side of our initial plosives. Bring the plosives back into the equation a little bit. So, Mr. Pettis, we'll start with you, sir.
Can you please repeat the question?
What do you believe the new Police Chief Ron Basie is doing well for Northeast Oklahoma City, and what would you like to see him and the department do better in the community?
I believe Ron Basie has been good for our city. For the city of Oklahoma City to have another black police chief says a lot. Ron Basie has strong ties to Northeast Oklahoma City. Ron Basie also, at one point in time, was the person leading the black police officers. And so, again, I believe that he has been great for our city in just over a few months. I do believe that the Oklahoma City Police must still do right by people who live in underserved communities, by people who look like you and I. They still must do the right thing. And I believe that we have a police chief who is going to hold his officers accountable for what they do in underserved communities, not only underserved communities, but to people all across this city.
Thank you for that. Mr. Pennington, the same question to you, sir. What is new Police Chief Ron Basie doing well for Northeast Oklahoma City, and what would you like to see him and the department do to improve it?
Well, I appreciate Chief Basie, and I think the focus has to be, number one, on, well, let me start with this. Every person, no matter what your income is, no matter what part of this city you live in, should feel safe. So having a mutually respectful relationship with police is required for us to have a safe city. I think it starts with ensuring that our police officers get the right kind of training for de-escalation, for how to handle those people who are experiencing mental health crises. We also need a police accountability board, a public oversight board that has teeth, so that when there are those instances where there's been an excessive use of force, we can hold the police accountable in a public and clear way. It's also time for us to diversify our police force and recruit people from this community to also be a part of the policing in this community, and for us to explore options about alternatives to policing. You know, sending out those mobile units that can address somebody with a mental health crisis instead of sending an armed police officer can lead to better outcomes in the long run. I've heard from many of our neighbors who are afraid to call the police for someone that they know is experiencing a mental health crisis because they're afraid the situation may escalate. We have to have confidence in our public safety officers, and that means better training and better accountability.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pennington. I'll start with you for this one, 90 seconds. The city of Oklahoma City has seen tremendous growth and new amenities, largely in relation to the 1 cent sales tax known as MAPS. While MAPS has funded everything from a library to the civic center to sports facilities to wellness centers, Scissortail Park, and much more, at least one major problem in our community has gone unaddressed thus far, the troubled Oklahoma County Jail, which is set to be replaced if the county can fill about a $400 million funding gap, just a minor thing. Beyond capital funding needs, the jail lacks adequate operational dollars. People have died. We know this is one of the worst jails in America, which brings us back to the city of Oklahoma City. Unlike many major cities in America, OKC does not operate a jail, and it provides quite limited funding to the county. So with the jail serving this community and housing many Oklahoma City residents, I'm curious, Mr. Pennington, is it time for city leaders to consider dedicating a small portion of either the traditional MAPS tax or another revenue stream toward ensuring funding that would ensure a safe, functional jail for this community?
Well, I think the county jail is a human rights violation. What's happening there is wrong and outrageous, and if you've been in there and seen those conditions, I promise you, you will be convinced that we need to build a new facility quickly. I think where the city should be investing its funds is in keeping people from going to jail in the first place. Policies that prevent people from going in the first place. If we invested in our mental health services, because so many of our people who are in that jail are just victims of their own mental health crises. So if we can do that, if we can have better policies that allow people to not revisit the jail so that we're getting the educational resources and training opportunities so that they can go out into the workforce and be productive citizens, I think we've got it all wrong that we need to be focused on how we can just house more people. We need to be focused on how we can give people the education and the opportunity so that they're not even going to jail in the first place. So that's where my focus is.
So just to be clear, that's a no in terms of the city of Oklahoma City using its political leverage to advance adequate funding.
We're already taking a budget cut. So no, to answer your question, we're already taking a budget cut that's going to hurt our services that we pay our taxes for. I think it's our obligation to work with the county on other responsible funding options so that we can ensure that our facilities are up to code, but that solution has to include keeping people out of jail, policies that divert people that shouldn't be there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pettis. Same question to you, 90 seconds. Is it time for city leaders to consider dedicating some OKC revenue, dedicating some of OKC's political capital to funding an adequately staffed and safe jail?
The number one client for the county jail, besides people of color, is the city of Oklahoma City. The city of Oklahoma City needs to be a part of the discussions when it comes to the county jail. Again, the city of Oklahoma City is the number one client to the county jail. So it's just to sit there and say the city shouldn't be involved or so forth, I think is wrong. I'm just going to tell you straight up, I think it's wrong. I do believe, again, that the mayor, along with every city councilman, needs to sit down with all three county commissioners and have a true discussion about the county jail. Along with the jail trust members, we do have Pastor Scobie who serves on the jail trust, and we do have Cedino who serves on the county bond for the county jail. We need to have some true discussions. Years ago, the city of Oklahoma City had some discussions as it relates to maps for kids. Those type of discussions needs to happen with the jail. Years ago, the city of Oklahoma City did a joint meeting between Oklahoma City Public Schools and the city council. And it's time for all the people, the county commissioners, the jail trust members, the bond issues, the bond members, along with the mayor and city council, to sit down at the table and have a discussion about the county jail.
Thank you very much.
I'd
Mr.
like to
Pennington,
respond to
yeah.
that. We pay our taxes, and we deserve to see meaningful results. We're talking about receiving a budget cut for when our roads are dilapidated. Every time I bring up, we talk about budgets, and I'm talking to our neighbors out there when I'm knocking on doors, they're wondering why we aren't making the right investments in our kids, why we aren't making the right investments in our neighborhoods, in our streetlights, in our streets, and yet we're talking about making sure we're sending more money to jails, when we should be talking about empowering our community so that they don't even need to go to jail in the first place. Let's have a real conversation about private prisons and that pipeline that incentivizes people to fill jails in the first place.
Now, let me be clear. John A. Pettis Jr. never said that he supported a sales tax to go for the county jail or property taxes to go for the county jail. What John A. Pettis Jr. said is, we need everybody in a room and let's have a civil discussion as it relates to criminal justice reform, as it relates to also the county jail.
And what I'm saying is, our future depends on our investment in our youth.
And
Our
I
funds
agree,
should be-
and I
Excuse me,
agree.
sir, I gave you the opportunity to speak. Our investment needs to be in our youth. Our investment needs to be in our educational opportunities. Our investment needs to be in mental health services so that we don't see the jail as our essential place to house people. Our community deserves better, and I want to see us get a return on our investment that we pay in taxes by investing in our children, by investing in the services that we deserve.
You see, every 8 seconds of a school day, the American student drops out of school, and from that moment on, his life or her life is handicapped for the rest of their life. So let me be clear. John A. Pettis Jr. does not support a sales tax for the county jail. What John A. Pettis Jr. supports is everybody sitting down in the room having a discussion of what does criminal justice reform look like and what does the county jail look like, what is the future. But again, every 8 seconds of a school day, the American student gives up his or her life and drops out of school. And from that moment on, life choices are limited.
Well, I think we're good on that topic. Great. Okay, Matt, you have the next question. This is for Mr. Pettis. He'll have 90 seconds. Mr. Pennington will have 90, then back to Mr. Pettis for 30.
That's right. So, Mr. Pettis, your prior tenure as a Ward 7 councilman ended in 2018 when you resigned and then you pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor tax evasion charge. You have said you were wrongly charged in the case and an embezzlement count was dropped before your plea agreement. Nonetheless, you received a 5-year deferred sentence, paid a fine, and agreed never to seek elected office again. Last summer, new DA Vicky Behenna accelerated the dismissal of your deferred sentence, which would have run through August and would have prevented you from being able to seek this seat. The question is, what do you say to voters who think something serious must have happened back then for you to resign, plead guilty, and agree not to run for office again?
So I'm going over my time. I just want the moderators to know I'm going over my time, because there's no way that I can address what happened to me in 90 seconds. I'm going there today, so again, I'm going over my time.
Take your time. Take your time. We're all listening.
So here it is. In May of 2018, I was a few weeks away from winning the county commissioner's seat when I was wrongly charged with 4 counts, 3 embezzlement counts, and 1 tax-related charge. Can you imagine being charged with a crime and you never received the discovery information until after the county commissioner race was over with? That's something that people don't talk about, but I'll talk about it. The reason why the former DA withheld that evidence, because it showed how political those charges were. Yes, he dropped the charges a year later. I was charged. Mother's Day weekend. Mother's Day weekend, I was charged. Year later, the 3 embezzlement counts were dismissed because the lack of evidence and no credible witnesses. The witnesses that never was discussed were the DA's friends. the community said no to some developments. For years, I was threatened to be sued for standing up for the community, for doing what the community asked me to do. Instead of being sued, charges were filed against me. Yes, in August of 2018, give and take, I did plead guilty to filing my taxes late. Now, let's be clear. I wanted a trial. I wanted my day in court. But when your judge is sleeping with the DA staff, it's no way in heck you're going to get her for a trial. Let's be real about it. When the judge is sleeping with the DA staff, what you going to do? Let me tell you what I had to do. I had to wait until my time came. Yeah, I'm going there today. I serve a God who is a lawyer in a courtroom. So I had to hold my tongue until my change came. So what was your change? Well, we all saw the news stories of that particular judge. One case after another case. Hey, one assistant DA said, hey, you know, there's something there. I wish I had time to fully go into it.
Well, we've got about 3.5 minutes in. Let's put a bow on it, and I want to hear what Mr. Pennington has to say.
Well, thank you. I think that, you know, let's think about what's happening in our world right now when right here from Washington, we're losing jobs at the FAA right here in our community. We're losing hundreds of jobs at Tinker. They're talking about cutting our Medicare. They're talking about cutting Medicaid. There are all of these things, these threats that are happening in our community. And I just want you to know that if I'm elected to Ward 7 to City Council, my focus is on acting every day with honesty and integrity. It's important that we see our future as one where we can trust our leaders to act with honesty every single time they transact on our part. So I want to build together a community where everybody feels safe, where our citizens are healthy and have access to the amenities that they deserve, and that we're building a thriving economy here. And I promise that I'm going to be focused on making you proud and on putting this community first.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pettis. Let's go back to you, 30 seconds. Put a bow on it.
Here's the bow. Go to my website and see the video.
Thank you very much. Mr. Pennington, got a question for you. You serve on the OKC Planning Commission, which is the recommending body for all zoning applicants. Last April, while you were the commission's chairman, you voted in favor of advancing the controversial Legends Tower concept, which proposes building America's tallest skyscraper just on the outskirts of Bricktown. Beyond logistical concerns, the financing and leasing of such a project in OKC seems preposterous to some people, and legitimate questions have been raised about the developer's claims and promises that have been made along the way. Nonetheless, you voted to advance the concept. So I'm curious, what do you say to voters who think that you cast that vote out of political expediency, as opposed to recognizing the public concern about the project's feasibility and its light pollution, among other things, from the massive video screens that were proposed when they came before your commission? 90 seconds-ish, 2 minutes, whatever you feel like.
Yeah, I'll respond to that question. I received it a lot from journalists after that day at Planning Commission, and my response when asked whether I thought this was going to happen is I just said, I believe in OKC, and I believe in Northeast OKC. I think that this city has been strengthened by having a real vision and being willing to face any challenge that we have. So what I love about the fact that they want to build the largest tower in North America here is that it's a big goal that we're willing to say as a city that we can do anything in Oklahoma City. Let's remember when this was just flyover country, and yet MAPS has brought us an NBA team and an Olympics. We are a city of possibilities, and I'm going to always bank on the side of how we can make this community and this city stronger for all of its citizens. And so if that means we're building a big tower to bring in more businesses and greater jobs and an opportunity for our citizens, that's what I'm going to support. I think the bigger question to me is what public funding is going into it. And that's not something within the purview of the Planning Commission, but I want to know that we aren't using TIF dollars or public dollars on something that's speculative and not going to happen. So if elected, I'm going to be focused on holding them accountable for any public dollars or public investments that are being made in this.
Thank you. Mr. Pettis, 90 seconds to you. Does that explanation satisfy your concerns about that tower and that vote?
For that tower to be the largest tower in this country, I do have some concerns that the fire station off of Lincoln will not be able to service that tower. There should have been a fire station proposed for that development because the one on Lincoln cannot handle it, and the one that's also downtown near the county jail cannot handle it. So as a city, there has to be some more details worked out, in my view, because again, the city cannot, the current city infrastructure cannot handle a massive development without adding a new fire station there.
Thank you very much. Mr. Pennington, 30 seconds back to you to close it out.
Sure, I do want to be clear that you won't catch me at the top of that tower on a windy day in Oklahoma City. But I do think that it's really important that we make sure that any kind of opportunity like this is one where our residents can win. That's why it's so important to me that we work on educating our minority contractors that are right in our community so that they get the opportunity to be builders on something like this. And all across our city, making sure that we are giving those opportunities to our residents is critical. And so we have to believe in what we can achieve in Oklahoma City. And I think that starts with really big goals.
Thank you very much. That's the end of round 3. Give them a round of applause. We're going to go to our 2-minute closing statements. And gentlemen, we'll do it the same order that we did the opening statements. Mr. Pettis, 2 minutes to you to begin the opening statements.
Again, thank you, NonDoc, and thank you, Channel 9, and thank you, Metro Tech. Metro Tech Superintendent is in the back shaking a Millwood Falcons hand. He's the gentleman with the camera is a student at Millwood High School, a senior at Millwood High School. So thank you all for including a Falcon to be a part of this. I just had to throw that in. You see, we have a record of accomplishments from police body cameras, from driving crime down in our community by 20%, for supporting and demanding a new multi-generational community center, from supporting the MAPS 3 senior wellness centers. I could go on and on and on. We need a councilman who's going to stand for the community, who's going to show up for the community, and who's going to speak truth to power. I respectfully ask for your vote, your prayers, and support on April the 1st.
Thank you very much. Give him a round of applause. And Mr. Pennington, you get to close us out. 2 minutes to you, sir.
Excellent. Well, I again want to thank our moderators and NonDoc and Channel 9 for this opportunity to be here, and to thank you all for being here as well. I love this community, and I am so grateful for the outstanding education that I've received, the opportunity to raise my own children right here in the neighborhood that I grew up in, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to pursue my dreams. And I believe that every kid, no matter what you look like, no matter where you live in this community, no matter how much money your parents make, deserves that same chance. And that is what I'm going to fight for every day as your councilman. That's why the theme of our campaign is building together. Building together a community where every person feels safe in their own neighborhood. Building together a community where we meaningfully invest in our streets, in our sidewalks, in our street lights, so that people feel safe. That we invest in opportunities for housing so that we turn our renters into homeowners, and programs that ensure that our seniors can retire and age with dignity and respect that they deserve for the investments that they've made in this community. You know, I think about in 15 years from now, both of my daughters have graduated from high school, and I think, are we building the kind of community that they'd want to come back and live in? Are we building the kind of community where they know that their children will have access to a high-quality education, that they'll be able to afford a high-quality home, that they'll be able to pursue the job and career of their dreams, that maybe they can live in my neighborhood and I can be a proud grandpa, like I get to watch my parents do every day? I'm here and I'm running for the seat because I believe in our future. And I believe that that future is amazing when we decide to build it together. And when we focus on ensuring that every single kid, no matter what you look like, no matter where you live, gets the opportunity to live up to their full God-given potential. So I'm Camal Pennington, and I'm asking for your vote on April 1st.
Thank you very much. Give him a round of applause. That concludes tonight's debate. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Thank you to Metro Tech for everybody working hard to make this happen. Thank you for our candidates participating in this, our sponsors, AARP Oklahoma, the Urban Land Institute of Oklahoma's district chapter, and the Scholar Strategy Network. Election night is April 1st. Have a great night. Go enjoy some fun times in Ward 7. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm a $10 cowboy, maybe that's a fact. I got some inhibitions that might be holding me back.